Rev up your engines, gentlemen. From the thunderous rumble of Milwaukee iron to the screaming Italian stallions, the V-Twin has defined motorcycling for over a century. Today, we're counting down the 15 greatest V-Twin power plants ever bolted into a frame. Engines that didn't just move bikes, they moved mountains and changed motorcycling forever. Before we dive into this mechanical hall of fame, if you're as pumped about legendary machines as we are, smash that hype button. YouTube's newest way to show love for channels bringing you the real deal on motorcycle culture. Let's show them that V-Twin passion runs deep. Number 15. Let's kick off our countdown with the controversial yet capable Suzuki TL1000 engine. Introduced in '97, this 996cc 90-degree V-Twin was Suzuki's bold answer to Ducati's dominance in the superbike arena. While the TL1000R racing variant was deemed so under par that Suzuki never even raced it, the engine itself had nothing wrong with it. When fitted to a Moto chassis, it even took a race win at Phillip Island with Anthony Gobert. The TL1000S street version earned a reputation as the Widowmaker for its notoriously twitchy handling, but that wasn't the engine's fault. It got a 5-star rating when it came to bowel loosening ability. Pumping out 125 horsepower and featuring fuel injection when most bikes still ran carburetors, this motor was ahead of its time. The rotary rear damper might have been a disaster, but the engine itself was solid gold, torquey, characterful, and surprisingly reliable. It proved that Japanese manufacturers could build V-Twins with soul, even if they couldn't quite nail the chassis to match. Number 14. The Australian Hammer dropped in 2008 with KTM's RC8 and its thunderous 1195cc 75-degree V-Twin. The RC8 was developed with ideas of mounting a full-on WSB campaign, but the factory racing effort never happened. Despite being forgotten by many, this engine was an absolute monster, cranking out 155 horsepower in street trim and featuring some of the most advanced engineering of its era. What made this power plant special was its compact design and incredibly narrow profile, achieved through clever packaging and that unique 75-degree angle. The engine used a ride-by-wire throttle system and twin spark plugs per cylinder, technologies that were cutting edge for '08. KTM's racing DNA shone through with lightweight internals and a screaming 10,500 RPM redline. While the RC8 never achieved racing glory, its engine proved that KTM could build a world-class V-Twin that could run with the best from Italy and Japan. It was the foundation that would later evolve into their incredible 1290 Super Duke engine. If you're liking this content so far, consider liking, subscribing, and sharing with a friend. It really helps me out. Number 13. The Buell 1190RX engine. The frame is the fuel tank, the brakes are rim-mounted, the engine is a made-for-the-job Rotax design. Eric Buell's masterpiece, the 1190RX, featured a purpose-built 1190cc 72-degree V-Twin developed with Rotax that produced 185 horsepower and 101 pound-feet of torque. It was so nearly Buell's big-time breakthrough model. If owner Harley-Davidson hadn't closed the company in 2009, it might have developed into a real contender. This wasn't just another Harley engine in a sport chassis. This was a ground-up design featuring liquid cooling, dual overhead cams, and advanced fuel injection. The engine's party trick was its incredibly linear power delivery combined with a soul-stirring exhaust note that sounded nothing like a traditional American V-Twin. The EBR 1190RX was a phoenix of the unlaunched second-generation machine. What could have been one of America's greatest sport bike engines became a limited production legend, with survivors now commanding premium prices among collectors who recognize genius when they see it. Number 12. Honda's VTR1000 SP, launched in 2000, was the bike that broke the Ducati stranglehold. This 999cc 90-degree V-Twin was Honda's weapon of choice in the superbike wars, and boy did it deliver. The battles between Colin Edwards and Ducati riding Troy Bayliss were legendary, with Edwards and Honda taking the WSB titles in 2000 and 2002. Producing 133 horsepower in street trim, the SP1 and later SP2 variants featured gear-driven cams, a massive airbox, and Honda's legendary build quality. The race bike, RC51, produced at least 136 horsepower and satisfied the craze for the V-Twin back in its days that was kickstarted by Ducati. What set this engine apart was its incredible reliability. While Ducatis were fast but fragile, the Honda could take a beating all season long and keep coming back for more. That distinctive sound, somewhere between a Ducati's scream and a Harley's rumble, became the soundtrack to one of superbike racing's golden eras. Number 11. Aprilia RSV Mille engine. The RSV 1000 Mille was an excellent sport bike with refined dynamics and a V-Twin that had a nice mid and top end, and not spoil the fun at high revs like other typical Vs. Aprilia's 998cc 60-degree Rotax developed V-Twin burst onto the scene in 1998, immediately establishing itself as a Ducati killer. Producing 128 horsepower with a glorious top-end rush, this engine featured some seriously trick technology for its time. Low end was torquey and a bit lumpy, but overall it was well appreciated by most riders who were fortunate enough to experience one firsthand. The engine's narrow 60-degree angle allowed for better packaging and weight distribution than the typical 90-degree layout. With dry sump lubrication, titanium connecting rods in the later Mille R versions, and that unmistakable Aprilia whale at full chat, this engine proved that Italians didn't have a monopoly on passionate V-twin design. The fact that this basic architecture still powers Aprilia's modern Tuono and RSV4 platforms, albeit now as a V4, speaks volumes about its fundamental excellence. Number 10. Indian PowerPlus engine. The modern Indian motorcycle renaissance rides on the shoulders of the mighty PowerPlus engine. Indian motorcycle's most powerful engine to date, the PowerPlus 112. All-new 112 cubic inch liquid-cooled V-twin engine, 126 horsepower and 133 pound-feet of torque. This isn't just a Harley clone, it's a thoroughly modern power plant that honors tradition while embracing technology. The PowerPlus motor's overhead camshafts and 4 valves per cylinder deliver incredible V-twin power. Hydraulic valve lash adjusters and hydraulic camshaft chain tensioners make it easy to maintain and reliable. Named after Indian's legendary 1916 through 1924 racing engines, the modern PowerPlus dominated the racing scene too. The PowerPlus engine has claimed multiple victories on the track with its high-revving race-inspired design, including the 3 King of the Baggers championships. With inverted front suspension and modern electronics managing all that power, this engine proves American V-twins can be both traditional and cutting-edge. Number 9. Kawasaki VN2000 engine. Hold on to your handlebars for this one, the largest production V-twin ever created. The Kawasaki Vulcan 2000 or VN2000 features the largest ever V-twin engine on a production motorcycle. At a whopping 2053cc, this behemoth was Kawasaki's nuclear option in the cruiser wars. Kawasaki's objective with this bike was to produce maximum performance without making the engine high-strung. The engine featured a 52-degree V-twin configuration with 4 valves per cylinder with pushrod operation. Despite using pushrods, the massive pistons, 4-inch pistons, delivered earth-moving torque that could pull tree stumps. The top portion is liquid-cooled, but the bottom is air-cooled with fins, giving the engine a tapered shape. Production ran from 2004 to 2010, and while it wasn't the most sophisticated engine on this list, for sheer displacement bragging rights, nothing touches the VN2000. It remains the world's largest production V-twin, as well as the world's largest production twin-cylinder engine. Number 8. Vincent Black Shadow Lightning V-twin. Now we're getting into sacred territory. Phil Irving saw 2 engineers' drawings of the single lying on top of each other, the cylinders forming a V-twin. Within weeks, the first 1000cc Vincent V-twin had been built. The 998cc 50-degree V-twin that powered Vincent motorcycles from 1946 to 1955 wasn't just an engine, it was a legend in cast iron and aluminum. The Series A Vincent Rapide's V-twin engine pushed out 45 horsepower, giving a top speed of 110 miles per hour. The engine was breathed on for the 1948 Series C Black Shadow, with which 55 horsepower could reach a top speed of 125 miles per hour, making it the fastest production motorcycle in the world. The Black Lightning racing version was even more incredible. With Raleigh free riding, a Black Lightning set a new world speed record at the Bonneville Salt Flats of 150.13 miles per hour. The engine used unit construction before it was cool, with the engine cases doubling as the frame's stressed member. Advanced features included dual carburetors, adjustable cam timing, and materials that were aerospace grade for the era. Number 7. Moto Guzzi Le Mans V-twin. The transverse-mounted 844cc and later 949cc V-twin that powered various Le Mans models from 1976 to 1993 represents Italian engineering at its quirky finest. Their iconic 90-degree transverse V-twin with a longitudinal crankshaft, where cylinders protrude sideways for optimal air cooling and a unique rumbling character that's instantly recognizable. The Le Mans, particularly the 850 Le Mans 1 and 2, is a cafe racer iron with its sleek lines, vibrant red paint, and sporty performance. The Le Mans engine started at 71 horsepower, but was more about character than outright power. Compared to its roadster sibling, the T3, the Le Mans had higher compression-domed pistons, larger engine valves, and Dell'Orto 36mm pumper carburetors. What made it special was the longitudinal crankshaft layout, which created a unique gyroscopic effect that actually helped handling. The shaft drive was buttery smooth, and that distinctive Guzzi exhaust note, part agricultural, part exotic, became the soundtrack for a generation of European riders. In 1977, Cycle magazine said it was the only shaft-drive motorcycle to handle really well when ridden hard. Number 6. Harley-Davidson Twin Cam engine. Replacing the Evolution engine in 1999, the Twin Cam, or TC88, represented Harley's leap into the modern era while keeping one foot firmly planted in tradition. Starting at 1450cc, 88 cubic inches, and eventually growing to 1801cc, 110 cubic inches, This engine powered millions of Harleys for nearly 2 decades. The Twin Cam name came from its dual camshafts in the crankcase, replacing the single cam of the Evolution. The engine produced anywhere from 66 to 115 pound-feet of torque, depending on displacement and tuning. What made the Twin Cam special was its combination of traditional pushrod architecture with modern manufacturing tolerances and materials. The later versions with hydraulic cam chain tensioners solved early cam chain tensioner issues, making these engines bulletproof when properly maintained. With literally millions produced, the aftermarket support is endless. You can build anything from a 120-inch monster to a high-revving screamer. This engine proved that traditional American V-twin design could meet modern emissions standards while still delivering that classic Harley experience. Number 5. Harley-Davidson Evolution engine. The Evolution engine saved Harley-Davidson. Period. Introduced in 1984 when the company was on the brink of bankruptcy, the 1340cc 80-cubic-inch V-twin transformed Harley from a company making unreliable nostalgia machines into a global powerhouse. The Evo featured aluminum heads with iron cylinder liners, replacing the troublesome iron heads of the shovel head. Producing around 70 horsepower and 82 pound-feet of torque, the numbers weren't earth-shattering, but the reliability was. Suddenly, Harley could rack up 100,000 miles without major rebuilds. The Evolution's success wasn't just mechanical. It arrived just as baby boomers were hitting their peak earning years and looking for that rebel image. The engine's simplicity made it perfect for customization, spawning the entire modern custom motorcycle industry. From 1984 to 1999, the Evolution powered everything from sportsters to full-dress tourers, becoming the most successful engine in Harley's history and setting the template for every American V-twin that followed. Number 4. Harley-Davidson Milwaukee 8 engine. Introduced in 2016, it is Harley's fourth all-new big twin engine family. The Milwaukee 8 represents Harley's most advanced air-cooled engine ever, bringing 4-valve technology to the faithful. These engines differ from the traditional Harley big twin engines in that there are 4 valves per cylinder, totaling 8 valves, hence the name. Available in 107 cubic inch, 1750cc, and 114 cubic inch, 1870cc versions, with the 114 producing 119 pound-feet of torque. But here's where it gets impressive. Each Milwaukee 8 engine produces 10% more torque than the engine it replaces in touring models. The engineering is thoroughly modern. The rubber-mounted Milwaukee 8 engine features a single internal counterbalancer that cancels 75% of primary vibration at idle. A single chain-driven camshaft is lighter, mechanically less complex, and creates less friction and noise. Harley even addressed the heat issue that plagued riders for decades. The exhaust gas temperature was reduced by 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The Milwaukee 8 proves that you can teach an old dog new tricks while keeping its bark intact. Number 3. Ducati Desmosedici V4. While technically a V4, we're including it because it's essentially 2 L-twins joined at the hip, and it's too revolutionary to ignore. The Desmosedici Stradale was a V-shaped 4-cylinder layout and relies on desmodromic distribution. It delivers 207 horsepower at 13,500 RPM on the Panigale V4. This MotoGP-derived engine brings space-age technology to the street. The engine features a 90-degree V4 configuration with counter-rotating crankshaft, just like the MotoGP bikes. The twin-pulse firing order makes it sound like a V-twin. The peculiarity lies in the ignition timing of the 2 left cylinders followed by the 2 right cylinders. The Panigale V4R's 998cc version is capable of reaching 16,500 RPM and delivering 218 horsepower at 15,500 RPM. The desmodromic valve system eliminates valve springs entirely, using cams to both open and close valves, technology Ducati has used since the 1950s. This is the closest thing to a MotoGP engine you can buy for the street, representing the absolute pinnacle of V-configuration engine technology. Number 2. Ducati L-Twin. 916, 996, 998, 1098, 1198, 1299. The 90-degree L-Twin that powered Ducati superbikes from 1994 to 2017 isn't just an engine, it's a dynasty. Starting with the legendary 916's 916cc and eventually growing up to the 1299 Panigale's 1285cc, this engine family dominated world superbike racing for 2 decades. During the 1960s, Ducati had built excellent single-cylinder engines. In 1970, chief designer Fabio Taglioni started work on a 90-degree V-twin, sometimes called an L-twin. Ducati is perhaps best known for their version of the V-twin, the L-twin, known because of the perpendicular angle of the V. The engines featured Ducati's signature desmodromic valve actuation, allowing incredibly high RPM without valve float. From the 916's 114 horsepower to the 1299 Panigale's 205 horsepower, the evolution was staggering. The L-twin's combination of massive torque, screaming top-end power, and that unmistakable Ducati sound created a cult following. These engines powered bikes to 17 World Superbike Championships and countless racing victories. The engineering was always cutting edge: titanium rods, exotic metals, and eventually massive over-square dimensions that pushed the limits of physics. Number 1. Harley-Davidson Knucklehead engine. The king of all V-twins, the engine that started a revolution. The Knucklehead engine replaced the old flathead engine in Harley's top-of-the-range EL models. Introduced in 1936 as a 61 cubic inch 1000cc and later expanded to 74 cubic inches 1200cc, the Knucklehead didn't just power motorcycles, it powered an entire culture. The Knucklehead V-twin engine, named after the unique rocker covers that resembled knuckles on a clenched fist, was a big step up. The Knucklehead was one of the first modern motorcycle engines ever produced and provided a foundation for Harley-Davidson to build upon. This was Harley's first overhead valve big twin, featuring a recirculating oil system that was revolutionary for its time. Producing around 40 horsepower, it doesn't sound like much today, but in 1936 it was enough to make the Knucklehead-powered EL the fastest production motorcycle in America. More importantly, the Knucklehead established the template that every Harley big twin would follow for the next 90 years: 45-degree V-angle, pushrod-operated overhead valve, and that distinctive potato-potato sound. The Knucklehead's rocker covers, which gave it its name, became an iconic design element copied endlessly. This engine didn't just power motorcycles, it powered the dreams of generations of riders and built an empire that still dominates American motorcycling today. From the revolutionary Knucklehead that started it all to the space-age Desmosedici Stradale pushing the boundaries of what's possible, these 15 engines represent more than just mechanical excellence. They're the heartbeat of motorcycling culture. Each one changed the game in its own way, whether through raw displacement, racing dominance, or sheer character. The V-twin configuration has proven itself as the soul of motorcycling, delivering everything from earth-moving torque to screaming top-end power, all while providing that emotional connection between rider and machine that no inline four can match. These engines remind us that motorcycling isn't just about transportation, it's about passion, heritage, and the pursuit of mechanical perfection. If this countdown got your motor running, hit that subscribe button and join our community of riders who appreciate the finest engines ever to grace two wheels. Until next time, keep the rubber side down and those V-twins rumbling.